My wife was living a double life our whole marriage. You might find my story hard to believe because it's too crazy to be believable. Too many things happen to put all in one post, but I will do my best. My now ex-wife and I were married for 16 years. We had rough patches in our marriage, but we always made it work. We had many happy years too. By the way, this comes from Eastern European SD, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, about 2 years ago was when the big drama started. We had what seemed like a small rough patch again. Nothing big, just a regular family disagreement and family business decisions that we were trying to resolve, but I felt in my gut there was something else behind our fights. Normally in our marriage, he was always the smarter one who made the first step towards peace. That trait kept hers and our family together, while my ego was always too big to make the first step. But this time was different. She showed no sign of backing off. She stopped trying to solve our disagreements and started staying late at what I thought was her friend's house. When I realized things were getting worse, I stepped over my ego and tried to apologize. To my surprise, she didn't respond to my efforts to make things better. I started to suspect infidelity, but had no proof. When my jealousy punted and I even started spying on her for a couple of days. But then I decided that wasn't the right thing to do and let things resolve naturally, and that would be more honorable. So I started doubting my suspicions and thought I was just being paranoid. Shortly later, she texted me a question about our family business disagreement. When I texted back with business decisions she didn't agree with, she replied with an ultimatum. It basically said that either it had to be her way or we needed to end everything and divorce. What I know now, 2 years later, made me realize that this argument was only an excuse to initiate divorce. She didn't have the guts to tell me the true reasons. I didn't give in because the disagreement seemed too small to go separate ways over. I thought she was bluffing and being childish, so I bluffed back and agreed to divorce. This was how I was raised. I believe the man should be the breadwinner, and the woman should put family first and nurture love and peace in the home. Once the divorce train started rolling, ambitions took over and there was no resolution in sight. We lived for the first year while the divorce was finalized, then lived another year separately and officially divorced. Since I didn't know the true reasons for divorce, I convinced myself that the family business was the real reason, even though the disagreement wasn't big enough to justify divorce. I started feeling guilty as if I had chosen my business over my family. The divorce court let me keep the business since I was more capable of running it, and to compensate for my guilt, I chose a very generous financial settlement for my wife. I willingly paid 4 times the amount of spousal support and child alimony required by local law. I wasn't a wealthy businessman, but the amount I decided to pay allowed her to live comfortably, stay in the same house, and keep our daughter in the same school, even though it meant I had to work more and struggle financially. Even though our divorce started with drama and anger, a few months into the separation, my wife started showing signs of regrets. Her temper gradually cooled down and she actually started being nice to me. A week before the final divorce court date, she even jokingly hinted that we could skip it and save the lawyer's fee. I thought things had gone too far and that finalizing the divorce was the only right thing to do. We got officially divorced and stayed separated for another year. Her signs of regret only grew stronger. She started inviting me to dinner for our daughter's sake. I always turned down her advance. Fast forward to recent. One evening, I got a text from her asking if it would be okay for her to come over with her girlfriend to have drinks. I was feeling very down that day, and to my own surprise, I agreed. After a night of drinks and conversation, my ex-wife's girlfriend started talking to me while my ex was in the bathroom. She told me how my ex missed me, how she thought and talked about me all the time, how much she cried about me, etc. Long story short, my ex and I ended up sleeping together that night in my place. The next day, all the "it wasn't supposed to happen" drama started. She said she needed to think about what happened. I felt that I missed her a lot and I wanted to forget the 2 years of separation and start fresh. I thought this long separation had been good for both of us, allowing us to realize how much we loved each other and reflect on our mistakes. But the next day came the shocker. She called and said we needed to talk. When we met, she revealed that she had been living with a man under the same roof for close to 2 years. She had been pregnant with him a year ago, but lost the baby in the early stages. She told me she never loved him and was always dreaming about getting back together with me. According to her, this guy was extremely nice in the beginning and got her attention by overwhelming her with attention and gifts. Shortly after, he became very controlling and emotionally harmful. I understand that my story is hard to believe. How could I not know? The thing is, our family consists of immigrants from Europe, and we don't have any family members here who could have told me. Family friends weren't there to inform me either, because this happens in divorce. You don't only lose your spouse, you lose your friends too. One lesson I learned from this experience: family is important, but you have to build your own friendships too. Not just family friends, but friends of your own who will be there to support you no matter what. Being in a state of shock, but moved by her honesty, I accepted her story and asked her to move to my place immediately to avoid further abuse. I know, it was so naive of me to make that decision on the spot, but I was overwhelmed with emotions and couldn't think clearly. The next day, I got another shocker. In a long conversation with her, I caught her in a lie. When confronted with her own story not making sense, she revealed that what she told me wasn't actually accurate. The truth was, this man didn't show up in her life after our separation. He appeared a month before we split. She had started cheating on me with him a month before we divorced. Now it all started making sense. The real reason behind her fighting about business and other things was her own infidelity. It was all an excuse to blame everything on me. Now she's begging for forgiveness, and I don't know how I'll be able to forgive her after so many lies. One thing I know for sure is that she loves me, but that doesn't make it easier to forgive. It's the opposite. How could she betray me in such a twisted manner? I blame myself for not showing her enough affection and attention, thinking that this was the trigger that caused her to drift away. I was too concentrated on supporting the family financially and forgot to nourish the emotional part of it. Here is my story. I spilled my guts here, and somehow it made things easier putting it all into words. Thanks for reading it all. And thanks for the advice you guys will send me. Comment 1, but whilst you were away being a man and providing for your family as a man should, she was being a wife to you. She cheated on you with someone else. She tried to replace you because she thought she had found someone better. For 2+ years, she didn't care how much she hurt you. Imagine the nights you spent crying, wondering what you did wrong. She was in bed with that guy then. You speak about what you didn't do, and believe me, men are not perfect, but as long as you tried to put a roof above your kid's head and food on the table, you deserve praise. Don't listen to the spiel you have told yourself. You do not sound like a bad person. The fact that you gave 4 times alimony proves this. You didn't deserve this. If you truly were horrible, she would have divorced you a long time ago and not cheated on you. It doesn't take 16 years to realize someone is horrible. The ruse of her friend coming over to yours is all BS, bro. She regrets shacking up with a new guy and realized what she lost. Do you think for one moment, if he was a decent, successful guy, she would be back talking to you? I know it hurts, bro, and I'm here for you, even as a stranger. But she didn't care for you and doesn't care for you. All it is grass isn't greener. She realized what she lost. But that doesn't mean this won't happen to you again. What happens the next time or the time after that? You have 2 paths. You can either try to resolve your issues and live with this for the rest of your life, constantly fearing she will cheat on you again, or you can move on with your life and start afresh. One thing I find is most people are so scared of being alone, they choose to be with anyone, even a manipulative cheater. You are better than that. You've already given her an unwarranted sum for the alimony, money she has undoubtedly spent on her new man. Please don't give her your dignity. Walk away, set an example for your kids. You need to find yourself, start a sport, get a hobby, open a business. The amount of time you have invested in her needs to be put elsewhere to more productive means. I know it's easy for me to say, but I'm giving you the perspective from the other side, the side you're not seeing. And that is where that story ends.